I think people don't really get the full picture of closed community games on Roblox. Like, there are CC games, and then there are actual CC games. Now, if you're like completely unfamiliar with the term CC or don't know what closed community games are as a whole, I'll give you all a quick rundown. Closed community games are games that aren't open to the public and require you to do something to be accepted, whether it be through an application, some kind of subscription, twerking on camera for access. It really does depend which game you're going for. But honestly, I don't think a lot of people in the space like actually understand the full scope of closed community games. See, as I said before, there are two types of closed community games. You've got games that let you pay for a closed community experience before the game releases, essentially making it something that like in early access. Then there's what I would call true closed community games, which would be games that have no plans or intentions to ever be completely public or work as a standard public game whose communities are entirely private. Before anything, I do want to say that this video is made to highlight everything wrong with the genre, but just know that there are like a lot of positives within it as well. However, some of the negatives are fucking insane. Now, it might seem like the differences aren't that crazy, and you also might be calling me autistic for making an entire video on this topic, but I promise it's interesting. Just stick with me. But as I was saying, most of you are probably familiar with like the first, CC game type because of examples like 4 Blues, Ghoulery, I think, games like that. And you might hear about some drama within those games from time to time. In actual closed community games though, brother, real closed community games are the biggest drama farm on the planet. I have never seen so many people ego checking over Discord, so many people get boosted out of their mind, and so many people who grow their ego off of a Lego anime military roleplay game. And this shit gets serious, I'm telling you. Like, as I said, you'd think people would be self-aware enough to not take themselves seriously on a Lego anime military roleplay game. But no, these people are everywhere, and I've had many displeasures of meeting these types of people. Genuinely some test tube specimen. Now, as I've said in other videos, most of the CC games I play, like Birdcage, Humanity's Fate, Realm, Eternity, they're all Attack on Titan games. I've played a couple others based on different animes, but
he gropes me. He groped me, teacher. Teacher, he's groping me.
Like, to me personally, none of them hit as hard because these Attack on Titan games are lore based, meaning that someone's written out a story and everyone who gets accepted into these games get to play within that story. Like, they get to carve out their own piece and make their own part in it. Also, I'm just like the biggest Attack on Titan glazer. I know I've said this already. Best show of all time. Argue with the wall, bitch. Now, Type Soul actually fits in the true CC category, I guess. Like, that game was never made to go public. That was just for the money. And you could tell it was a normal CC game before because that shit had insane drama with Cetro and all those freaky ass developers every other week. Like, these were not normal people who knew how to run a game.
Hey kid, how old are you?
I'm 12.
He's in Kyle. Let him go.
Not only that, the game was shit, the management of updates was shit. Obviously, the people developing it never understood how an actual game was supposed to work. But the drama is specifically what I want to talk about next. A game is a real closed community game with how much drama comes from them. As I said before, I've been in Attack on Titan games for around 3 years now, which is relatively low for, AOT closed community game players. Like, I know niggas who've been there for like double the length of where I have. And niggas dedicate their lives and souls to military Lego games. But the amount of shit I've seen that's been leaked, bro, oh my god. I didn't know this many files could exist in one space. You'd think you were taking a visit to Epstein's Island every single time you joined one of these communities. I wouldn't be surprised if Epstein ran a few of them himself. It felt like there was an expose document every month. And these weren't small documents either. They were like 60 pages long every time, with screenshots and everything. Sometimes like actual photos of these people. And the response documents were even longer. Everyone had problems with everyone. Games shut down and came back up like it was the fucking stock market. And I'll tell you this is true for every Attack on Titan game, every Attack on Titan CC game that I've played. Not one of them that I have played has gotten a normal ending. Every single one has closed due to some kind of drama, some kind of problem within the community, niggas just like burning out, someone being a pedophile. It's just like anything but an actual ending for a game. Birdcage, one of the most popular AOT CC games that has come out, has shut down like 5 times alone within this past year. And just a bit ago, it shut down for good, even though they said they'd shut it down for good like 5 times over now. But speaking of Birdcage, we had an incident before the game shut down forever, where 2 people were caught ERPing in a public event, live for everybody to see. Some unfortunate dude walks in on them, immediately clocks what's going on, and decides it's really not worth it to stay and see what happens next. And I'd show you all the chats, but some of these are like, I can't put this on my channel. Like I'm gonna get this video taken down. Of course though, this behavior is not limited to the true CC games. It just goes to show that CC game communities can really be a breeding ground for the world's worst people. Me personally, I think this is just like the result of a niche interest on the internet. It's always communities with specific interests that host the worst kind of people known to man, and I just don't know why, man. Honestly, probably part of the reason is just Discord. Like, Discord has been notorious for its entire lifespan for having the absolute worst people use the platform. Like, it's gotten so bad where, like, if you imagine like a Discord, if you talk to someone who doesn't use Discord and you say you use Discord, they're probably gonna think you're a weirdo. They're probably gonna think you associate with pedophiles. And you'd think it's hard to find them, but realistically, these people are all over the place on this platform. It's truly sad. People who think and act like XY and people who are probably friends with Epstein and Diddy are way too easy to find on this platform. Genuinely sad. But now, back on top. In most of these games, there's also certain powers to be gained that most of the player base won't have access to. These are normally called specs, and they'd be broken to shit and given out to players. Now, since these aren't public games and they can really do whatever they want, 90% of the time, they just give that shit to their friends. Because realistically, who's gonna stop them? You talk about that issue? Yeah, sorry, buddy. You're banned. You try and question why someone was given an absolute broken ability when they're dog shit at the game, barely play, and are also less deserving than some of the other people who've been playing for months? Yeah, take a 5-week vacation, buddy. As a member of the game, you have no rights. You are at the mercy of these Discord freaks. I obviously won't be naming any games, but in one of these games, if you ask one of the staff a reasonable question, he'd call you a retard and time you out for 2 weeks, or just straight ban you from the Discord for pissing him off. Now, this all sounds horrible, right? I mean, I just keep stacking shit on top of each other, and the offenses of these CC games gets pretty crazy, right? I don't know if this happens in other genres, but I sincerely think this is partly this rampant just because these games are based around Attack on Titan. At least in this case. The entire show is based around the military of nations, and so this is obviously going to bring in the military simulator role players and all that. Which in turn also brings the Discord dwellers who stink beyond belief, and for my final point, I want to explain how terrible these communities always turn out to be. If you've been on Roblox long enough, you'll know about the previous private communities, which would be military Roblox groups. And oh my god, were there a ton of them. At some point I personally was in Vortex Security, which was cool. I played in a couple events there, that was chill. And I know a ton of you have seen the trolling military groups on YouTube and all that. Real peak content back then. And so if you have any knowledge on the people that play in those groups, a lot of them are fucking weird. And so going from that to Attack on Titan, I don't think is that big of a jump. Now, there are some exceptions where drama isn't all that happens, but in almost every single CC game I've played, there's just a part of the community that is unbearable to talk with, sometimes even multiple parts. I already talked about the ERP people. There's the racists, the creeps, the people who don't understand how to talk to women, the people who don't understand how to talk to people in general, and then the random 10-year-old that somehow makes it into the game, and then times that by 10. That's the average CC game population. Maybe 9% of people are normal, and if you speak against any of it, it feels like you're shouting into the void because, again, the majority are the people that I mentioned. And if they're not the majority, then it's the owners who let that behavior run rampant and do nothing about it. Or they participate in it themselves, which is not that uncommon. You call someone out for being an oddball, and then you get a reality check because you forgot you were talking to Discordians and people who grew up on Moodabot instead of a normal childhood. So please, if you're one of these people who take shit too serious on Discord, please go outside and shut off your computer for like one day for your own good and for the good of humankind, really. Take a walk and breathe some air instead of your recycled stagnant fart odor, and realize that there's more to the life than screaming at people over the internet. But alright, I'm done ranting about these freaks. I'm done, bro. I'm done. I think I'm gonna end up doing a lot more of these just talking videos because, again, there's really not much I'm interested in making content on Roblox for, like as in like specific games. You guys did give me a lot of good suggestions though, so thank you. I'll try getting to them when, if I do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later, man.